Welcome back, everyone. I am back again at home, so I can bring you a new video. I wanted to record it already before I left, but I didn't have enough time. I was afraid that YouTube might drop an update that could break the replays, but yeah, no worries. As if they're gonna drop a hotfix after a month. Ha! Lamau. It's not like the Dragon 1 is broken and like half the other ATGMs are also broken. Yeah, well, whatever. Um, they didn't drop an update, so I can still present you this replay without any issues. Um, and as you can see, I'm playing second Panzer I was playing it quite a lot, but I just couldn't get any interesting games with it. So uh, you didn't see it, but this game was actually pretty cool. You can see I am going up against 8th Mechanized Infantry Division, and it is pretty versatile in its playstyle, but what you see or what you saw fairly often, like I haven't played ranked in like a week, so I don't know whether maybe something has changed. But when like 1 or 2 weeks ago, still it was fairly air spam heavy. It's a bit like 11th ACAF or ACR. It's not as strong because you don't get the F-16 LGBs. You get the F-111 with the small bomb load compared to the F-111 LGB of TKS. And your air slots are pretty expensive, but I have seen several people do it. Because, I mean, if you sacrifice a lot of other slots, you can still fill your air tab, and considering that the air spam is done in the opener, you either win early on or you lose, so you don't really need a deep deck because it's more or less an all-in. So that was what I was expecting, or like I had a feeling that my enemy would try to do that because it was just on vogue at the time of playing. So uh, I decided that I would actually try to counter the, how do you say it, the most up-to-date playstyle, I guess, and not what I would consider, I don't know, the most interesting or whatever. Because to be fair, I mean, most people play to win, which I mean, that makes sense. um, it's just a bit sad if they abuse overpowered stuff, but I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? It's not their fault that it's in the game the way it is. And yeah, well, the air opener is strong, and if you're not prepared for it, and you're inexperienced, you don't really know how to counter that. So you can, it's the one air spamming, you can grind your way up very, very well. And so I was thinking a lot about what do I do, because I don't want to sacrifice a lot of ground in the beginning, because it's still possible that he doesn't do the air opener, right? And then if I give up the whole map, it's would be a bit painful. Because I mean, the other strength of 8th infantry is obviously the infantry, because they have a lot of high HP squads, and grinding back against them will be a big pain in the ass. Considering that, I mean, I have high HP squads, but then I also have the Panzer Grenadiers, which are just a joke. So you can see I'm thinking quite long about what do I deploy, how do I deploy it, where do I deploy it. And so I decided to get 3 of the Scharfschützen so that I can have some recon, which is not too expensive, but can cover a decent amount of the map. Deploy aggressively into this sector because the lumber mill, there's not that much lumber left around it, but or woods around it to produce lumber, but we still call it the lumber mill, I guess, is left alone fairly often by the player from the side. So I try to do some, well, defensive deployment that's not too much, but I can still hold on in case he goes for a surprise attack on this sector in the beginning. Because I mean he has arrow rifles and rangers that you can also bring in helicopters, which while not being forward deployed, helicopter infantry can still get to sectors very quick. I think it's more or less as quick as the forward deployed units. I think it's a bit slower though, I'm not completely sure. And yeah, so I wanted to have some units there to be able to hold a Fliegerfaust as well in case he does a helicopter opening, so that I have something to scare him off, because I mean the Fliegerfaust will not do more most of the time. You see, I replaced the Eyehawk with the Gepard because the Eyehawk seemed a bit too I just don't trust it against helicopters. That was my problem. And also, if he does an air rush, I will need to deploy the Eyehawk like spontaneously somewhere, and don't know whether it will have the sideline, while the Gepard is very good against helicopters and good enough against planes. For my own planes, I deploy an F-16 just to counter his helicopters if he has any, and then have the Tornado F3 in reserve. And yeah, the rest is just a bunch of FS Jäger, then the FS Jäger leader to capture this sector early, Milan 2, that goes there, yes. Jägeraufklärer, also in here, to provide more recon, but I wanted something more beefy in here than the sniper squad. And yeah, then obviously my 2 Luxes. I still wanted to do them for backline action. Yeah, and another Fliegerfaust. So I heard a helicopter, so I went in with the F-16. It was only a recon helicopter, so that was not really worth it. But luckily it survives and forces off one of his F-16s, and I saw 2 F-16 openers, so I was sure that I did the right thing, because if somebody opens with 2 F-16s, like 99% of the time they're gonna air spam, and yeah, you see the 2 A-10s coming in. Forced away the second F-16 with a Tornado, but now a third F-16 comes in. So I had to use the Tornado to head on the air superiority fighter. I don't kill it, but I force it off, though my Tornado also gets forced off, so I buy a second one. Sadly enough, the A-10 get the Jäger, the recon, though both FS Jäger survive and get quite close to the zone. One A-10 goes down with the help of the Tornado, and no, the Gepard was not in range. But now the Tornado gets forced off by the second A-10, though I forced it off as well. And honestly, that was a very good trade for me, because he killed, pretty sure he only killed 1 squad, maybe also a truck or something like that, but that's about it. No, I mean the Jägeraufklärer is obviously a very painful loss, but considering his massive investment into air, this went fairly well. Also considering that I didn't lose a single plane, and he, like, 2 of his F-16, no, I think 3 of his F-16 are now repairing. Yeah, all 3 were hit. One A-10 went down, and the other A-10 is also repairing. So he had 5 planes, 1 got shot down, and all the other 4 are repairing for quite a time now. And yeah, well, considering that he had an air opener, there was no other aggressive moves in other sectors. I didn't have a command for this sector here, because I was simply too low on points. So I'm buying in the Iltis now, because I know that he doesn't have anything on the ground too low. We start a big push quickly, so I can afford points to buy in a command now. Here I'm still staying defensively because I saw some infantry around here, so I didn't want to move them in instantly and get killed. So I'm working my way forward methodically. There's also nothing much going on here. And the Luxes are slowly moving forward. Did a mixture of moving and pushing there. Seeing the LRS squad moving up on this side, that made me a bit afraid, because if he has an LRS there, that would imply that he wants to start a push here. I mean, it's a very expensive recon unit, and you only get 4 of them. It's also very good, but yeah, very expensive. So chances are that you won't deploy it, on a flank just to have it there. So I am buying in more infantry and sending in the Harrier to bomb it, because I didn't see any AA with my recon, and yeah, because of the air opener, it's very unlikely that he has some long-range AA around here. So going in for the bombing run. Harrier, very good. bomb loadout, get the kill. Yeah, this area is insane considering its value. Like it has 20% ECM for heavy bombs. Only 8 HP is the big disadvantage, so it gets the one shot by Coops and Mooks or Ihawks or whatever. But I mean, it's 150 points and still has 20% ECM, so it's very, very, very good. And you get 3 per card, so they are insanely valuable. Command finally arrives in the sector, though he captured all his 3 sectors, so he was at a +1 for some time. Though I didn't have enough points to win by default anyway. And now I start investing more infantry here, not to like hold the sector, but to start an attack into the city through this route. Because I see he has infantry here, I see more infantry coming in here, so I just assumed that he won't be having a lot of defenses around here. Again, just because it's very unlikely that he has enough points. With 5 aircraft being purchased within like the first minute. I mean, the first minute plus the opener, obviously. That's a lot of points that he just doesn't have on the ground. Mech rifles being deployed here. I just sneezed there, sorry. LOG is really killing me this year. So I just buy in 2 more Harriers. Was a bit risky because there might be some AA around here, but I just saw so many infantry squads here, so I decided to, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna go in anyway because it's such juicy targets, I can't ignore that. And yeah, let's see. 1 hits and kills. Second one hits and kills the fire team, but not the Rangers, unfortunately, and you see, yeah, no AA fired at them. So, very good bombing run. And the FS Jägers here were being in trouble a bit, alone against like, what, 4 or 5 infantry squads. F-16 comes in again. I didn't buy in any long-range AA myself as well, because I thought that it would be fairly unlikely that he would keep air spamming, because after the air spam fails in the first minute, you need to buy in more infantry or like ground forces to kind of stabilize. So that's why I kind of gambled that he wouldn't have more aircraft coming in, and you see, yeah, he only had like 1 F-16 air superiority fighter, so that gamble kind of paid off. Killing off the supply truck there, it's very, very, very important, so the Rangers can't be repaired. Bringing them at 2 vet is something I did as well, though I am not completely sure. I lost my pointer, what the fuck? What was I talking about? Yeah, the 2 vet Rangers, sorry. The 2 vet Rangers, I'm really not sure whether they're worth it or not. Because you have a lot of, well, you have high HP infantry with 8th, but you don't get that much of it. So I think it would be better to bring them in at 1 vet. But I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I still have vision on this mech rifles, so I decided to just bomb it while I see it. Though this one actually gets hit by AA now. Oh, it's a Stinger. Though that doesn't matter, because it gets out alive. Killed the mech rifles, and now I can move up the Jaeger to get control of those buildings there. F-16 comes in, and luckily misses. That would have been a very painful loss. Fliegerfaust actually hits. That was lucky. With 40% accuracy against 30% ECM. Oof. Though obviously it doesn't do much because it's a Fliegerfaust. My Luxes here are slowly creeping forward. Not much going on there, but I don't want to reveal them too early, because he has quite a few helicopters, so he can counter them pretty well if he spots them. But, well, I mean, he has to spot them and realize that they're there. So I'm being very cautious with them. I spotted the helicopter supply coming in, obviously for the Rangers, and other infantry is also repairing there. And the Harriers are both ready to bomb again, so I decided to bring them in and simply bomb his supply, because if I'm lucky, I will kill the infantry and the supply, and if I'm unlucky, I will just kill the supply and the infantry will still stay at, like, what, 2 health, whatever it was, or 4, I can't remember exactly. Bring in both Harriers to begin with on the building. Luxus get the snipe there in the backline. Though I spot Ihawk firing at the Harrier, so I reroute the second Harrier to bomb the Ihawk. First one gets shot down, second one gets the bombing run through. but also dies against the two F-16s that now came in again. But I have purchased an Ihawk now, and Ihawk and Gepard together kill off one F-16, kill off the second F-16. So, I mean, losing both Harriers is obviously painful, but considering I got the supply heli, most likely also some infantry, an Ihawk, which you only get 3 of, and 2 F-16s, so this is now 3 F-16s killed overall, so he only has 1 left most likely. This was very, very worth it for me. And plus like a kill in the backline here. I don't know, I think it was some ATGM squad or something in the Jeep there. Moved the Luxus over to the other forest line, so that he doesn't, because I'm pretty sure they shot them somewhere from here, so that he doesn't find them in this forest line. You can see the forces are being amassed here. I didn't want to go in too early. I really wanted to have a lot of units together and then start to push with all of them at once. Though I think it would have been better to also invest more forces here, but I was afraid of ATGMs in the city and in these buildings because I haven't really secured them yet. Buying in AA to support the push, because I mean he still has at least one A10 around, and I also saw one of the LGBs coming in, so this one also can hit me. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit it, so it's not repairing or anything. I have the Tornado circling in the back, just for some long-range support in case he comes in. Bought in some M48s here to get some fire support on the infantry here, because I realized that he didn't have any long-range fire support himself, though unfortunately he now has in form of the M1 Abrams, and he has some ATGMs in this building a forest line somewhere around here. So this was not the best engagement for me, but I mean he is not really able to push in because I have a lot of infantry myself still there, so it's fine. LGB coming in and Weasel. I'm not sure what I turned him off now. Luckily the Weasel missed its first rocket, but that's kind of to be expected. And yeah, with 3 fighters coming in, his Weasel really didn't stand a chance. Also got a scout helicopter somewhere there. Yeah, that was a lucky hit from one of the sidewinders, I would guess. So yeah, that was a very ambitious dive by him, I would say. I get this idea, like he wanted to support his LGB so that I have to turn off my AA, but I had a lot of fighters and he didn't shoot down a single one of them. So that was really a desperate move by him. Now I'm buying in more infantry for this attack here. Also bought in 2 Luxus just for some quick mechanized recon. His infantry is here slowly whittled down. Well, mine is as well, but I at least had a supply truck that didn't get bombed to repair them, though it's empty now. So I need to bring in some more supply. I was a bit slow with bringing up supply in this game, so that was not the best. And now I start the attack here. I'll bring in the Luxus first. I think they were a bit too far ahead of the main push, but fine overall. See a truck disengaging, so a bit unlucky that, or selling off, so I know that he has brought in some infantry in here. I was a bit sad about that. M1 Abrams here being repaired now, so he has finally brought in some supply that didn't get bombed. And yet the A10 comes in. I have an Ihawk, but it's a bit too far back. Fliegerfaust and Gepard, well, the Fliegerfaust obviously will not do much. Gepard is driving in straight to the action. A10 gets a Lux and turns away instantly, so the Gepard doesn't get a shot off. Bring in the F-16 to kind of just shotgun dive him. And the mistake here by me was that I moved the Gepard in too close and in the open, so that it was spotted by some infantry in the city here. By most likely by a recon squad here in the church. So it got gunned down by the A10, F-16 dies, and Ihawk misses. So yeah, that was a bit unlucky, but also just not well done by me. But doesn't really matter, because he killed my AA, but he didn't kill any of the units that actually doing the attacking, you know. And the A10 was hit and did have to retreat and will be repairing for a long time now again. Caught off some Stinger in the backline. Pretty good kill. Use the Fuchs with the Milan to also advance and just be annoying on the reinforcement road. Luxus haven't seen really anything. It was a big mistake by me because the reinforcements here go through this road here and not here. So yeah, That wasn't done well by me. He's trying to attack into this sector here again. And I mean, that's kind of fair enough, right? Because, like, there's not much left here. FSA is super low. One Marder Panzer Grenadier with, like, the 5 laughable health it has. More tanks coming in to get some long-range support into the city, but I can just stay on this side of the city, and then his Abrams are kind of useless. Bring in the MW1 to kill his infantry that was in the buildings there. Sadly, though, it goes down to the Eyehawks, and maybe also Chaparral, not sure. And yeah, I also bought in 2 M110s with a command, because upvetting them is very, very valuable. They get so much better. F-16 gets hit, and we'll have to repair again. Don't get a full cap on a sector because he still has a command in there, so I will need to get a move on and get more control of the city to push him out of the corner there. Abrams moving around, pretty well done, because I mean he knows that I am on this side of the sector. Brought in Pioneer, Armbrust, and Jäger, Leopard 2A3 to get my own long-range support and not a Marder. Because my Marder that I brought in here died somewhere along the line, which is to be expected of a Marder. Spot the Chaparral, so I try to get the Leopards in here to kill the Chaparral and maybe also get some good side shots on the M1 Abrams. Marder opening fire with the AGGM. Gets hit once but survives, because it's a Marder, but unfortunately misses. So the M1 doesn't get stunned. I was too late smoking it and it dies. So I bring in the Leopard 2 from the flank. Get a beautiful shot in. He misses, though still does damage because splash damage is just dumb at the moment. Smokes off and retreats. The Grenadier, Panzer Grenadier Marder here using his Panzerfaust on its Abrams, being ineffective as always, but he has to retreat because he's afraid of side shots, I guess. Use the M110s on the Chaparral to kill it off. It's a bit of an overkill, but better to use your artillery on a target that's not really worth it than not use it at all, in my opinion. Leopard 2 gets infantry and a supply kill, so I'm slowly moving forward, though I don't want to get into the city fighting here too much, because I don't really know how much he has left there. And the Law is not a very good AT launcher, but a side shot will still hurt a Leopard, because its armor is not the best. Another Weasel coming in. I don't even know whether I bothered turning off my AA. Yeah, I turned it off too late, so the Gapper died. But the Eyehawk got a hit in, so the Weasel is on 1 health. Maybe it will die? No, it won't. Ah, that was sad. But it's gonna be off repairing for a long time again. I pushed him out of the corner and killed his command, finally. The Pioneer Flamme against the Rangers will lose because they were out of Haneflag-Patrone. So, yeah, the Ranger is just better because it has more of it. And, yeah, the tanks supporting them from long range is obviously also not really helping. It gets routed and retreats. More mech rifles coming in. Tornado dies from the AA. That was not good that I didn't micro it better. Because I mean, I know that he has a lot of AA here, right? So after the tornado dies, I pull the second tornado back further. Because I only have 2 tornadoes and 2 F-16s, but 1 F-16 already died. So I really don't want to sacrifice them. Even though I killed a lot of his air already, but I mean, still, why would I sacrifice them just, you know, for nothing? That seems dumb. Stingray here keeps suppression on the Pioneer Flamme because it's routed. That was a bit stupid. And yeah, he's trying to bring more infantry in, but the problem is that he spent a lot of points on tanks, which don't really help him in this situation. I think he just overspent with buying too many tanks. Well, obviously also aircraft, but even with all his aircraft, he could have, like all his aircraft being useless and going down, he could have kind of survived it. Use the Leopard 2A3 command to snipe an Abrams tank. His infantry is moving into this city here, but I mean there's no command with it, and I have brought up more infantry and repaired the infantry that I already had. Abrams, Leopard 2A3 here is still skirmishing with Abrams. Another one being brought up here. There's an M1A1 actually now. I lost sight of them, of the Abrams, so I tried to retreat the Leopard again, but it was sniped by a Bradley that was invisible, because visibility is fun. So that was very, very bad, because now we can recapture the sector. But I mean, I am now 400 points ahead. So while being bad, it's whatever. I saw a helicopter coming in here, so I gunned it down with my own planes, and I also had a Gepard coming in. So that was really not a big of an issue, and it was a leader that he tried to sneak in my backline, but yeah, nice idea, but in my opinion, if you want to do backline plays, you really have to go all in. Like, we're having more helicopter and air support, and not just a singular unit. That most likely doesn't end well for you. And yeah, a lot of infantry in here as well. Those are out of range, sadly. Didn't realize that. And the Abrams here is still alive, I just couldn't kill it. Brought in some Leopard 1A5s. Those should be easily capable of killing one M1 Abrams. And M110's going to work on the M1A1 in the back. So yeah, Leopard 1 A5's engaging the M1 Abrams, killing it off, as I said. I mean, also he didn't even switch fire to them. Don't know if he even saw them or realized that they were there. But yeah, that was not that well done by him. Bring in my favorite helicopters, the 105 with the hot shoes. See his artillery firing, and my looks actually get some kills here as well. I mean, but this one seems to be driving towards the spawn, so most likely that was being sold off. I mean, just 20 points, like whatever. Level 1 here dies to an ATGM. It smoked a bit too late. This one tries to push in further, brought in a Jäger Aufklärer to provide some recon information here again as well. Those are my favorite helicopters, not because they're like the best in the sense of that they have the most firepower, but they're just so... Kills over Bradley, by the way, very, very nice. They're just so cost effective. I like the Gazelle Hots as well. Those little ATGM helicopters can do massive amounts of damage. And yeah, I just liked it a lot. And because they're so cheap, most people don't use a plane to gun run them because it's not really worth it, right? And while if you have like an Apache or a Viper, it will most likely get gun run by a plane. A10 goes down to the AA. Luxus try to get onto the M110. One of them dies to a tank that was coming in, and so I just moved this one here closer, and it just kept missing. Finally gets a hit and the kill on the M110. Another very, very good kill. I mean, in this case, I am kind of in the driver's seat already, but I don't want to, you know, give him any breathing room. So if you already have an advantage, you shouldn't lean back and just chill out and think to yourself, oh, I'm winning anyway. Always keep up the pressure, because your enemy always can fight back. I mean, you see, he has still a lot of infantry left. This is very dangerous. 11-man squads that have a lot of damage output, and new tanks coming in, and artillery that could have started to do a lot of damage on me. But well, this all won't happen now, obviously, because I killed them off. And yeah, another MW1 coming in because I saw a big clump of infantry there, so I thought this would be a perfect target for the MW1, but sadly it gets hit by the IHawk on its run into the sector, and then gets hit or killed by a Stinger. Yeah, so the MW1 really didn't perform that game. I was a bit sad, because I love me some good MW1 runs, but I mean, the Harriers performed very well, so it's fine. F-16 circling in the back, but I mean, not really much you can do to support. Now I have the Leopard 2 on this hill here, so it can get some fire support into the city from long range, actually, because that was a bit of his problem here, that he couldn't get a good sideline on the city from long range to engage my infantry that was inside the city already. So it was either driving in and getting stunned down by all my Panzerfaust, or sitting in front of the city but not really being able to do a lot. And here I kind of have the perfect angle to get some support while being out of the danger zone. The bow unfortunately goes on to a stinger that's somewhere around here, but you can see now I have brought up so much infantry that there's the stinger, that this really shouldn't be an issue anymore. Second command Leo 2 comes into capture or contest the sector because he still has a command in there, but I mean I see it, so it's not long for the sword. Brought in Tornado Seed. Don't know if it actually killed something, but I mean he hasn't moved his IOC here in a while, so I get my artillery on it. Leopard 2 starting to advance because I didn't see any tanks or ATGM of his. And yeah, I win the game. I was very happy. Enemy was fairly low ranked. I don't think he was that low ranked when I played him, but still, yeah. He also seems to be fairly new to ranked at least. He has quite a few multiplayer games, but yeah, very, very inexperienced. Or seems to be inexperienced in ranked because he could have a lot of ranked games in the previous seasons, actually. Yeah, but anyway, you see his win-loss ratio also isn't that well. I would guess that he tried to do the air spam quite a few times, but the thing is you have to execute it very, very well for it to work. And especially if your enemy calls your all-in move in the beginning, as I did, you're kind of fucked. So yeah, you also see I have a fairly good kills to losses ratio. Just look at the kill list here, like the fighters getting a few valuable kills, like nothing major overall, but good kills, and especially like forcing him back early on was so important. And here, yeah, the Harriers getting also very valuable kills at a valuable time. The supply and the Eyehawk and like 2 mech rifle squads and LRS also very important. Yeah, the looks in the backline. Oh, it was actually a sniper squad that it killed in a Humvee. Well, that's also a good kill. Because snipers are good recon squads and actually can also be very, very annoying to dislodge with just infantry, for example. And then the howitzer was just so good. And yeah, this looks here also getting some infantry squads. Stinger and then 84. My own M110 getting Chaparral, M1A1 Abrams and Eyehawk. Very good kill list. Leopard 2 here. I mean, not that impressive. Bunch of infantry units. And yeah, the F-16 getting the range leader that was trying to capture my back sector. So yeah, you can see there's not a lot of like hero units, or I would say actually not a single real hero unit, but just overall a decent performance by all of the units. And yeah, you see here the A10 in the beginning only did get the Jägeraufklärer, and then later the Lux and the Gepard. M1 here, yeah, I mean it's like 2 tanks, sure, but it's M48, so that doesn't really count. Yeah, the MW1's really letting me down and getting killed by his AA. Made me a bit sad. But yeah, you can see his kill is not that impressive. Especially with the planes, considering he did an air opener. And yeah, that's kind of the name of the game at the moment. You really have to call what your enemy goes for. If he, goes for an all-in with armored and mechanized push on one side, or air opener, or a heli rush, or whatever, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, well, it is what it is. I hope they fix the Dragon 1 soon and all the other ATGMs, because it's just really painful at the moment right now. And yeah, next video will be my first league match. That will be a cool one. And next week I will have to play the 2 remaining league games, so I hope those will also be nice. And I hope to see you then. And until then, have a nice day, evening, night, whatever it is where you're at. And until next time, bye bye.